I am so sick of this tank's bullshit. Honestly, I just can't even take it anymore. It's time to rescape this thing. What's going on? Welcome back to Logan, Rando, Aquascaping. My name is Logan, and it has been a while since I recorded an episode. I've still had bi-weekly releases, but I actually batch recorded a bunch of builds before the holidays, so it's been a while since I've been on camera. Feels good to be back, and a lot has happened since. Last time I recorded, I kind of had a girlfriend. Now I definitely don't have a girlfriend. I've slimmed down a lot, started therapy, you know, that's good, but enough about me. Just like life, things change often in our aquariums, and that's kind of what keeps them interesting. So today we are dealing with my problem child, my UNS 45U. This is the first tank I scaped in San Diego, and I gotta be honest, I've been battling it since its inception. It is dealing with some really bad diatoms that just never seem to go away, and honestly, I can't take it anymore. Now I'm gonna preface this video with this. If your tank is dealing with algae, you gotta give it the good fight, and you gotta take a holistic approach. But once in a while, things just don't improve despite your best efforts. And at that point, it's totally okay to just rip things down and start over. After all, you want this hobby to bring you joy. You don't want it to be a non-stop chore. And that's where this tank is at. So as you can see, the diatoms are just so bad. They come back every couple days, despite me doing really intense, deliberate maintenance. So my hypothesis is that it has something to do with the dragonwood and how much dragonwood there is in the tank and how it potentially obstructs the flow. So dragonwood has all these little holes and nooks and crannies, and it's kind of impossible to clean those little sections out. So I think diatoms are just getting stuck in there, and then it's obstructing the flow, and that's why the tank looks like a mess. So what we're gonna do is rescape this tank, but we're gonna keep the plants and we're gonna keep the soil. So this is kind of what I call a pseudo rescape, meaning it's not a complete teardown, we're recycling some of the materials. So what I'm gonna do as step one is I'm going to remove the dragonwood very, very delicately, because I don't want to disrupt too much soil. I don't want to completely freak my fish out. I'm trying to manage their stress levels as well as my own. Taking hardscape out of a glass aquarium, it's not fun, but with careful, deliberate movement, you can do it safe and sound. And really what you want to do for anything that's embedded in soil is just kind of tease it out very gently and slowly. Take your time, let the soil kind of naturally fall off of it, and then once the piece is loose, I recommend just putting it on a towel that you perhaps have lying down next to your tank. Okay, now that all of the dragonwood and some of the cereus stone that was weighing down the wood is out of the tank, I'm just gonna trim any sort of exposed roots that I've pulled up. This is gonna give me a little bit of an easier canvas to work in and allow me to see what I'm doing. Step 3. Time to get rid of that sand path. We no longer are gonna have a need for this. I've got a different idea for the style of hardscape, and sand path just doesn't fit the vision. So what I'm gonna do is siphon that out. This is actually a really easy process, but again, the sand path is surrounded by soil, so I don't wanna cause a complete cave in. So I'm working deliberately and very carefully, and I'm able to get about 90% to 95% of the sand out, which brings us to step 4. It's time to fill in all those gaps we've created with more aqua soil. This is not only gonna build our substrate layer back up and fill in the sand path area, but it's gonna provide some fresh soil for new plants that will ultimately plug the holes we've created. So as always, I'm using UNS Controsoil. This is my favorite soil, widely available in the United States. I get it from Boost Plant, based up in LA. They ship all over the country. If you need soil for your next scape, go ahead and check out my description. I've got the soil link there. And then once all the soil is in there, I'm just gonna flatten it out with my little sand flattener for aesthetic purposes. I'm very, very neurotic about making sure things look good for each step. So that's a big deal to me before I actually plant and get new hardscape in here. I want to make sure things are kind of evened out. And now for step number 5, it's time to do a big carpet trimming. Because we've pulled out all the hardscape and have partially uprooted things, I just want to start fresh with new growth. So using my curved scissors, I'm going to give everything a really aggressive trim so that in addition to having a new hardscape, we'll also have a nice fresh carpet that will hopefully fill in, stimulate new growth, and take care of a lot of the gaps we've created. All right, now that our carpet has been trimmed down and we kind of get a fresh start, it's time to hardscape this aquarium, and I want to smooth things out with some simplicity. So Boost Plant a while back sent me some beautiful hardscape. This is called Wolfstone, and I haven't had a chance to work with it yet, but I think it will be absolutely perfect in this aquarium. So I'm going to create a Sansone Iwagumi. That means a 3-stone Iwagumi, one of the most simple layouts you can create. And I got to be honest, this went went exceedingly well. I don't think I've ever created a hardscape so quickly. Things just kind of worked. It all came together. And by the time I was done, I took a few steps back and I was really digging it. I could kind of envision what I was going to do with adding more plants as well, which is always a good sign. But before we get to adding new plants, I want to give the fish a little break. So I'm going to do a big water change. And as for the final step, it's time to switch out the light. So this is the TWINSTAR 400S version 3. And TWINSTAR recently released the version 4, which I'm grateful to have my hands on. And this light, thankfully, comes with the TWINSTAR dimmer, which is really nice because the TWINSTAR S line is super high power. So being able to dim it down is pretty much a necessity for me. So to have a first party dimmer come with the light is really awesome. So after about 5 days or so, I decided to get to planting, and I'm gonna start with some Eleocharis bellum. I'll just be filling in all the gaps I created, filling in the little section where the sand path was, and right away, this is gonna make the tank look a lot better and less sparse. As for the mid-ground, I am working with a plant I've been wanting to work with for a really long time, and I just haven't had the opportunity. This is Pogostemum helferi downoi, and it's so beautiful. It really reminds me of a fern with the way the leaves grow. And it's just the absolute perfect mid-ground plant. So I'm adding it between the stones, which is a little bit tricky, but using some extra aqua soil, I'm able to bury them just barely enough so that they'll be able to get their roots down there and kind of stretch out. And then finally, for the background, I decided I wanted a little bit of a pop of color, a little bit of red. So I decided to go with Rotala Wallichii. And cool thing about this is, in addition to having pops of red with really good lighting, it's a nice textural contrast. It's super fluffy and feathery and is gonna contrast really nicely from the Eleocharis and the Pogostemum helferi in the middle. So right now it's looking really sparse, but with regular trimming and replanting and good quality light, it'll be nice and bushy before we know it. Now let's fast forward to 1 month later. As you can see, things are filling in nicely, especially the background, and I decided to suspend the TWINSTAR light using the UNS Pro hanging bars. Once I started suspending lighting about a year ago, it just totally changed the game for me. It gives it such a high-end, really boutique look, and I've kind of told myself, once you go suspended lighting, you never go back. So that's very much been the case for me. I'm doing that with most of the lighting in my studio space, and the utility benefit of that is it makes trimming so easy. It also makes scrubbing the tops of your hardscape easy. I was constantly bumping into the light previously, and by suspending it high above the tank, you can increase the dimness a little bit and make maintenance a breeze. So there you have it, guys. That's how you rescape an aquarium while recycling the soil and the plants to create something new and fresh and invigorate your passion for the hobby. That's exactly what this tank did for me. I'm super into this aquarium. I added some shrimps, some snails. I have been dealing with some disease with my CPD, so I lost a significant amount of them, but things have stabilized, haven't lost one in a few weeks. Although the numbers are low, I think they just look beautiful in this tank, and I'm really enjoying it. If you like this type of content, it helps me out big time for you to subscribe, like it, share it, whatever you gotta do to get the word out means a lot to me. There's a lot of cool stuff coming this year, as well as some really cool nano builds. So if you like that type of stuff, stay tuned because it's coming soon. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Logan with Logan Rando Aquascaping, and I'll catch you guys and gals next time.